Hello. Hey, hey, hey. How's it going?
Good,
Hey,
how are you?
guys.
You change your location.
I know. I don't have an office in my house. I mean, I technically do, but you know, the basement is just so dark. So so now I'm on my the kitchen breakfast table. So you guys get like a tour of my house pretty much. So all right, yes. So thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it. This has been like a fun, and hopefully it's been informative for everybody. So I'm going to put here, we're going to stream this on Facebook here. I'm just going to type a title here, how to cook and prepare meals with limited food options. And then I don't know about you guys, but one of my favorite, it's a cooking school here in the Stanley Marketplace here in Denver. They're doing Facebook Live cooking classes from his kitchen, which has been great. It's called Crate Cooking School. So you can find them on Facebook. So. All right. Crate Cooking School.
Oh, thanks.
And it's at the Stanley Marketplace. So, hi, Kathy. Thanks for joining us.
Hi.
Noah's got the best of the best chef's apron. I love it.
Don't you love it? It's awesome.
Yeah, I totally love it.
So yeah, figured we better get into the spirit of some meal prep.
Yes. We're a little bit early here, so we'll give just a few minutes to get people hopping in. Hi, Karen.
Hi.
Hey, everybody. Special happy birthday to Karen from yesterday. I hope you had an amazing coronavirus isolation birthday.
Happy birthday.
Yes, tell us, did you do anything remotely special for yourself?
Well, I cooked a turkey dinner, which was
wonderful. That sounds great, actually.
That's
How did you prepare it?
I used my slow cooker.
Oh, sweet.
The slow cooker, yeah.
That's awesome.
Awesome. That's what the tutorial will be about today. So
yes. No, that's perfect. Believe it or not, now I love to cook, you guys. It's really one of my absolute favorite things to do. I have noticed that there are different slow cookers. So my husband got me one of the more special slow cookers from Williams-Sonoma. So I upgraded from my Target slow cooker to the Williams-Sonoma. And at first I was like, gosh, don't waste money on getting a bigger, a fancy slow cooker. I just need one that, does the basics. But I kid you not, the one that he got from Williams-Sonoma really makes a huge difference in the flavors. So I have really, I cook chili in there, and I use actually ground turkey with that. I do like a beef stew in there, and I've also done like spaghetti sauce, but I can actually tell a major difference. So that was a total learning experience. Not that you have to go spend a couple $100 on Williams-Sonoma slow cooker, but in case they're ever on sale, there actually is a huge difference on the slow cooker equipment. Same thing with the different pots and pans. I don't have a lot, but I do have a special stainless steel one from Williams-Sonoma where I can get a nice sear, particularly with any type of fish, or I'm a scallops queen. I love cooking scallops, and then also shrimp. It does it so much better than just like a regular pan. And then like another birthday present, I swear I probably get like cooking items for either Mother's Day or my birthday, but a cast iron pan is also sort of like another secret weapon when it comes to like steak and things like that.
And butter.
So awesome. Hi, Nicole. Thanks so much for joining us. And
Hello.
I think that's Patrick on here too. So you guys are amazing. Thank you so much for joining. I see Vicky on here. Thank you so much. Katie, you guys are awesome. I'm getting ready to roll this out. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. And so thank you guys. Welcome to day 4 of the Healthier Than Ever Masterclass. We have our special guest today, Noah, who is our fabulous registered dietitian and fitness trainer at MedFit Medical Weight Loss. And this is actually a topic that I have been looking forward to, because I don't know about you guys, but we're going to the grocery store and things are empty, right? Like I literally went through like the section with even just like canned vegetables, and then they were like all gone. And then of course all of like the junk food was gone too, like all the processed foods, the boxes, even like, I don't know if you guys follow me on Instagram, but I noticed like the baked goods shelf was pretty empty too. So I was like, uh-oh, America's going to be in trouble, right? So I really wanted to get Noah's intake, and he put together this topic today on how can we be creative on making healthy prepared meals with limited options. So Noah, with your famous chef apron, go ahead and give us a wild experience today. We're all excited. Oh. All right. So, all right, Noah, you can go ahead and start. Oh, he can't hear you. Not sure if he can hear me. You can go ahead and go. Yep. Can everybody hear Noah? There we go. Yep, I can hear you now.
Let's see here.
Difficulties.
Yep, you're good to go. Yep. Oops. Sorry, we're having some technical difficulties here. Can you hear us, Noah?
Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you. We can hear you.
Can everyone else hear me?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. So let's get started. So today, yeah, like we were talking about, we're going to talk about meal prep today. Yeah, there are some limited items, but however, I went to the grocery store last night, was able to find a good amount of stuff. So I'm going to base that off of what I could find at the grocery store as far as last night. So before we get into meal prep, I kind of want to break down the idea of macronutrients and how are we going to build our meal prep? How are we going to plan and build for our meal prep and our plate? So there's a couple kind of catchphrases that I want you to start thinking about here. And so when we start doing this, the idea is when I look at building my meal plan, I start with the protein. I essentially, quote unquote, pick my protein, and that is going to be the foundation of my meal prep, right? So I'm going to pick protein sources that involve chicken, fish, beef, pork, tofu, whatever you're feeling for that specific week. That's what we're going to base kind of our meal prep off of. So picking our protein to start off with. From there, we're going to go into carbohydrates. So we're going to choose our carbohydrate. So essentially, what is going to go well with our protein, right? So if we're doing chicken, does rice go well with it, or potatoes? So we're going to then choose our carbohydrates. So sources of carbohydrate are going to include things like rice, potatoes, starchy vegetables, bread, things like that. So then the next step that we're going to look at is going to be, I like to call it finding our fat. So the reason I say finding our fat is some of our protein sources are actually going to have our fat within it already. So things like salmon, things like beef, things like pork are already going to include fat. So we need to find that, right? So we're going to look for that. Now, again, finding our fat. If it's not in our protein source already, did we cook with fat? Did we use olive oil to grease the pan? Did we use butter to grease the pan? So did we cook with some sort of fat? Again, we're going to find our fat. So if we didn't either choose a protein source that already has fat, or choose or cook with a oil or a fat, then we're gonna go ahead and add a fat. So adding fat could look like adding avocado or cheese, sour cream, some of the dressings for salads. So that's what I want you to think about. So I want you to pick your protein, I want to choose your carb, and I want you to find your fat. So that's going to be something that we're going to take into consideration when we're doing our meal prep. So for today specifically, I want to introduce you to kind of this idea of building the staple. So my staple for this week is actually going to be chicken. I did find some chicken breasts at the store this week. So I'm just going to move this down a little bit, give a little demonstration here. So what we've got here is we've got a slow cooker. I've got about 1.25 pounds of chicken breasts, and I've got some stock. So the idea here is we're gonna kind of prep for quite a few meals. We got 1.5 pounds here. So this could, essentially be 4 to 5 servings of our protein that we can choose our carb and find our fat with. So just to get that rolling, we're gonna start this here just to show you how easy this is, right? So we take our chicken breast. Of course, I've already washed my hands today, so make sure you do wash your hands before we practice food safety for sure. So we're gonna take our chicken breasts, we're gonna lay them here in our slow cooker, and we're gonna put our broth in. I already have about a 1/2 cup measured out here. The broth that I chose to use actually includes all the seasonings that I like, so a lot of the dishes that I'm gonna show you today are gonna be Mexican inspired. So we have our chicken in there. I like to add a little bit of water in there as well, just to get a nice juicy chicken breast. So I put about another 1/2 cup of water in there. I am going to go ahead and put the lid on, put it on low, and leave that thing for 4 to 6 hours. That's the last thing that I have to do with it. So the broth that I used was for 1 pot. It's a Mexican chicken broth. So with this, the only thing I want to add to this is if you're on a low sodium diet, I probably wouldn't recommend this. I'd probably recommend going with a low sodium version of chicken broth. But yes, very cool, very cool. So we're gonna leave that on low for about 4 to 6 hours. Boom, we're gonna leave that alone. So for demonstration purposes, I've already have some prep. So I'm just gonna move the camera over one more time for us, and we'll probably leave it here for the rest. So for here, I've got my shredded chicken that I made last night. It's awesome, smells delicious. So this is about 1.5 pounds here. So with that being said, I have quite a few servings. So what do we do with this, right? How do we pair this with different things? So we're gonna start off with, I wanna kind of demonstrate on how to measure this out. Before I touch anything, I'm gonna go ahead and wash my hands because I did just touch raw chicken. So give me just a sec here. About 20 seconds and we are good.
How many servings do you think's in that Tupperware, Noah?
I would imagine there's probably about 4 to 5 servings in here.
Awesome.
We're gonna go through 3 recipes. We're gonna use 3 servings of this. So I'm gonna break this down into servings. So depending on who you are, depending on what your goals are, we need to talk about what a serving size is, right? So if we are looking at, a weight loss program, when we are on a meal plan or meal prep, typically about 40% of our calories come from protein. So that can be, anywhere from 4 to 5 ounces, I'd say probably 3 to 5 ounces of meat. So we're gonna start here. We're gonna weigh out our serving here. I'm gonna do 4 ounces for the demonstration purposes of today. So I'm gonna get I'm gonna zero it out. And boom, we're gonna go ahead and go for, there's about 2 ounces. There we go. There's about 4 ounces there for us here. So we got our 4 ounces of chicken. So now what do we do with it, right? Let's choose our carb. Let's choose our carb. So for the first dish, we are going to do kind of a healthy kind of California club wrap. So let me grab the ingredients here for this. We're going to start out with our tortilla. The tortilla that we highly recommend at MedFit is going to be a Mission spinach herb tortilla wrap. There's about 130 calories with about 26 grams of carbohydrate.
Nice. How many ounces of the chicken per serving, Noah?
About 4 ounces.
Awesome.
Is what we're going to do for the demonstration of today's today's video. So we got our wrap, right? We're gonna take our chicken and we're going to put it on our wrap. Now, there's a few other things, right? So we chose our carb, we picked our protein. We're gonna go ahead and add just a little bit more protein. And what I like to do to add a little bit more protein is some turkey bacon. So I've got some uncured, nitrate-free turkey bacon here. Awesome source. There's only about 45 calories per slice. For today's purposes, I'm gonna do 1 slice of turkey bacon on there, giving us about another 5 grams of protein. So awesome stuff. From there, we are going to, since our turkey bacon doesn't have much fat, chicken is very low in fat, the tortilla has virtually no fat, we're gonna add a little bit of fat here. And just for perspective, we're gonna do the thin sliced provolone cheese. There's about 40 calories per slice and about 3 grams of fat. So not a ton, but remember, we're getting some complementary fats as well. There's a little bit in the chicken, there's a little bit in the turkey bacon, there's like half a gram in the tortilla. So we're gonna go ahead and lay this here. And
how much protein do you think that is?
This roughly is about 40 grams of protein, so pretty high in protein.
That's really good.
Really a protein-packed meal. We're getting, about 7 grams of fat, and then we're getting roughly about 30 to 32 grams of carbohydrate. So then we're gonna pick our veggies. Today, for today's purposes, I chose tomato and lettuce, so just kind of standard stuff. So one thing I want to give you a caveat is typically a lot of people like to put mustard and maybe mayo on there. We did choose our fat as our cheese this time. So if we are going to choose some dressings, I would highly recommend them being lower in fat. So maybe things like mustard would probably be your best bet for this one. If we want to do some mayo, we just put cheese. So we just swap them out. Remember, we're finding our fat. So
Noah, Colleen asked, instead of cheese, would avocado be a good option?
Absolutely. So the next meal actually does include avocado. So I'm going to go through a couple different ones as well. So I have another 2 to go through that will kind of describe a few other fat sources for us as well. So boom, we've got this meal prepped, right? It took us virtually no time. We let our crock-pot chicken cook. Took me about maybe 5 minutes to assemble all together. So we go ahead and throw this into a Tupperware, and we've got ourselves a solid little lunch, a solid little dinner. Roughly around that 350 calorie range, 40 grams protein, 10 grams fat, and about 30, 35 grams of carbohydrates. So awesome option that we can use with our foundation of our protein source as chicken. So we're gonna go ahead and move this stuff out of the way. I'm gonna go ahead and do another demonstration on another meal that we can make with our slow cooker shredded chicken.
That looks amazing, Noah. Does anybody have questions? It just kind of seemed so pretty easy. I actually not right? I wasn't familiar with that tortilla, and that's like and this was something that even Stephanie pointed out on Tuesday. You guys just realized that these subtle changes can really cut your calories, but doesn't compromise how healthy and how good it is. So thanks for pointing that out, Noah.
Absolutely. And also something else to consider when we're choosing our carb sources we do want to include, some fiber and some micronutrients, right? So we do want to choose carb sources that are going to be a little bit healthier for us. So just backing up off of what she was saying about choosing that specific tortilla is we're just trying to optimize our sources of carbohydrates. So that's where that idea of the tortilla came into play. All right. So anybody have any questions, concerns, ideas about this, about that first meal?
I actually have a random question. So
yeah,
does it matter if you have that during lunch or dinner? Like, would you prefer one over the other?
Absolutely not. So the only thing we want to take into consideration is it was a provolone cheese as well. It was the thin slice. I can show you that. But no, so it depends on kind of where your day's at, right? So if we have a little bit of a higher calorie meal for lunch or for dinner, we just want to balance that out for the rest of the day. So if our dinner is pretty high in calories, we're going to want to lower that for our lunch and for our breakfast and snacks. So we just kind of want to make sure this balancing act is working out pretty well as far as calories are concerned.
Awesome. Thank you.
No,
you're welcome.
Tortillas.
Go ahead.
There's a lot of different types of tortillas and flatbreads out there. Is there something in particular that we should stay away from as far as the tortillas and flatbreads?
is bad, nothing is good. I would say that if we're trying to make the best choice. So it'd be based off of reading the actual label. So when we're reading the label, the idea would be if we have a flour tortilla versus a whole wheat tortilla, the flour tortilla is going to be lower in fiber. So we're getting the same amount of calories, same amount of carbohydrate, but we're getting less of an essential nutrient. So the idea would be is to optimize those sources. So we really want to look at fiber content when we're picking a tortilla. That's probably the biggest recommendation I would make to you. So picking whole wheat, picking the spinach herb wrap, maybe trying to avoid the flour tortillas just because you're not getting that kind of bang for your buck as far as nutrient density is concerned.
Noah, would you look for calories?
I would look for calories, definitely. So I would want my carb source to be roughly around 25 to 35 grams of carbohydrate, which is anywhere between 90 to 130 calories. So definitely pay attention to calories.
And
Cool.
Nicole asked, what type of cheese did you use again?
Yeah, so this is the one that I recommend. Normally I go for the Swiss cheese, but like we were saying, it's limited options there, so it is what I could find. But if we look here, they are starting to make these kind of ultra thin cheeses. These cheeses are they're pretty much half. So there's about 40 calories in this one slice of cheese, which is a great option for kind of finding our fat or picking our fat, because it's not going to be too much or overloading it, right? Any other questions for that meal?
That's awesome. I'm hungry. Let's go to the next one.
Let's do it. I love it, guys. I love it. Okay, so again, right, so we have our chicken already prepped, ready to roll. It's sitting in the fridge. We can kind of just pick at it all week. So we're going to do that for, maybe that was Monday's lunch, right? So now we're going to go to, let's do Tuesday's dinner, right? So this might look like Tuesday's dinner. Again, we're going to weigh out our chicken, and we're going to do, for kicks and gigs, we'll go a little bit, lighter on this one. We'll go 3 ounces for this guy. And there we are. So now we have 3 ounces of chicken here. What I'm going to do with this is kind of like a Mexican style salad, kind of sticking with the theme as far as meal prep is concerned for the week. So I've got my salad here. I like to do a spring mix and just getting a bigger variety of it. So I buy a big old box of spring mix. I do about 2 cups of salad. So it's a little bit bigger of a container, but the volume of the actual salad will fill us up a lot. So also providing with fiber, vitamin K, a ton of other beneficial nutrients. So about 2 cups of salad we're going to do here. As far as, let me grab a few more things here. So, perfect. So in my salad, I'm going to actually go ahead and add some black beans. These are going to provide me with a little bit more protein, a little bit more carbohydrate as well. That's also the reason that I kind of went a little bit lower on the chicken.
Can I ask a quick question? If you're weighing your protein source, and say you're doing your average 3 ounces of protein per serving, as far as adding the carbs to that, would you weigh those too, or would you just go by like the what's on the package as far as how many carbs you're looking for?
Absolutely. Okay, so what I do when I look at carbs, yes, we do want to measure out and weigh carbs as well. So the idea is we already had a prepackaged serving for the last one, which was a tortilla, right? So for this one, our carb source is going to be 2, right? There's going to be 2 carb sources specifically. This is going to be the beans and the corn. So for this specific one, I would say that I did a half a cup of beans, giving me roughly about 20 grams of carbohydrate. And I'm going to do about a 1/4 of a cup of the corn. So that's going to give me my carb sources. It's a little confusing because we're using 2 different sources for our carbohydrate on this one, but it's just an example, right? I have one more one more recipe that will answer this question for you. It contains rice, and it's measuring out that rice. So hold that question for the next one, and I'll go ahead and explain that a little bit more for you, okay? Perfect. So for demonstration purposes, I am going to go ahead and add my black beans into my salad. So the one thing I recommend is kind of keeping things separate for this meal prep. We don't want our salad to get, wilted and gross, and, we don't want to have to heat up our chicken in the microwave with the salad already in there, you know, a microwave salad would be pretty gross. So kind of keeping the chicken off to the side, salad off to the side, and then kind of combining all the things. Let's see, if you don't like black beans, you should, I'm sorry, I didn't get the rest of that question.
Do you double up on the corn if you don't like black beans? That's what Margaret asks.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. The only concern that I would have there, and it's not even a concern, just black beans are a great source, or beans in general are a great source of fiber. It's something that we should kind of create as a staple in our diet. Now, if we are completely bean averted, then yes, I would say double down on the corn for this one. Or, you know, pair it with another carbohydrate source. Maybe put, you know, a fourth of a cup of rice and a fourth of a cup of corn in there. So you can kind of play around and remember how we were talking about choose your carb, right? So just, this is where you get that opportunity to explore some different carb sources. Did you rinse the beans? These beans specifically, I did not rinse. So these beans have a little bit of a jalapeno sauce in them, so I personally like that. It's a little bit spicier, kind of going with my Mexican theme. So for these ones, I did not know. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and let's see. I like to do sweet potato. Yeah, sweet potato is awesome. I think that chunking up sweet potato is a great way to do it. They actually have some sweet potatoes that you can microwave in the microwave for about 5 minutes, and they're ready to roll. So that would be also a great source of carbohydrate if you want to replace the beans with maybe like a sweet potato or any other potato, preferably, you know, sweet or yam or something along those lines. All right. So for this one, we're gonna go ahead and dump beans on there. I'm gonna go ahead and put my chicken on top. Theoretically, it's already heated. Boom. Got some chicken. I like to add a little salsa to it, so a little pico de gallo. I did about 2 tablespoons here. And then, so since, as you can see, there's no fat, so we have to find our fat. The one thing that I'm gonna use for this, like we were talking about last time, is some avocado. So I got about 1/4 of a cup of avocado here, roughly, you know, 60 to 70 calories, a couple grams of fat, sprinkle that on top. And so since I chose avocado as my fat source, my dressing has to be low in fat. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use a salsa verde, which is awesome. I love putting salsa verde on some of my, as kind of a salad dressing. So I'll take about another 2 tablespoons, roughly about 10 calories. So there's not much in it. And we go ahead and dress it up. And look at how awesome this salad looks, right? We have our chicken, we have our veggies, beans, pico de gallo, everything in there.
Colleen asks, how much salsa can you add to it? Because she's not much of a dressing person, so.
Yeah, so, I mean, following the serving sizes, but a majority of salsas are gonna be just blended up vegetables for the most part. So, you know, it's not a huge concern if you wanna kind of double down. I'd say 2 tablespoons is kind of like your starting point, and then go up from there. So if 2 tablespoons doesn't do it for you, let's go ahead and add 1 extra. It's you know, 5 to 10 extra calories. So it's not that big of an impact as far as calories are concerned.
Awesome. Anybody else having any other questions? That actually looks really great. That's a total like super fast grab and go. But you still, you always want to control your hunger. And so Noah did just an amazing job of eating things that help you feel full to get you through the next, you know.
Volume is going to be your best friend when you're on a weight loss program. So we are taking away calories, which what that means is essentially is it's removing some of this energy source, and that can, you know, make our portions smaller as far as our protein and our carbohydrates and our fats are concerned. So where do we make up for that? We make up for it in vegetables. So let's create volume through vegetables. So let's create volume through lettuce. Let's create volume through spinach, through broccoli, through these non-starchy vegetables that aren't going to give us a ton of calories, but they're going to give us a ton of fiber and micronutrients, vitamins, and minerals that we desperately need. So definitely, I'd say volume is going to be your best friend on a weight loss program.
Awesome, Noah. And then Stephanie said max is about 1/4 to 1/2 cup.
Of dressing or of salsa, yeah, that would probably be the best. So that would, yeah, highly recommend anywhere between 1/4 and 1/2 cup as kind of your max point. All right, guys, any other questions on our, you know, Mexican salad that we have here? Okay, great. We're gonna go ahead and move on to the next one. So the next one is, everyone loves Chipotle, right? Let me just clear some of this
Yes,
stuff out
can
here for
everybody
us.
put a big yes in the chat, please, if you love
Please,
Chipotle.
please.
Oh, and again, don't forget, Stephanie did an amazing job on walking us through the menu on how to make healthy choices from Chipotle. And I saw in my Instagram feed that they're offering free delivery. So make
Yes, I
sure
took
you check
advantage of
out.
it.
Yes.
Awesome.
Oops, I think we lost Noah. Do you guys have any questions? As you can kind of see how I know that we as quote busy professionals just tend to just say, gosh, I don't have time and I'm like out the door and
Right.
whatnot, but realize that Noah just did an amazing job
Sorry
to
about that.
simplify, you
Perfect.
know, I mean, and these things can make multiple meals from
Absolutely.
just basic ingredients. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, guys. I think I somehow got kicked out of the little session there, but I'm back in. We're all hear me and everything?
Yep, you're all good.
Awesome. Perfect. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and move on to our next meal. So again, we're back to our pre-prepped staple that we have as our protein. So we're kind of using this as our foundation for all of our meal prep this week. So our next one that we're gonna do is kind of a Chipotle inspired bowl. So again, we're gonna take this, we're gonna go back to our original 3 to 4 ounces. And perfect, there we are. And a little bit more. Perfect, we got again 4 ounces of our chicken. Go ahead and move that out of the way here. So to start, first things first, let me grab this bowl. There we are, perfect. And so we're gonna take, so what we were talking about earlier, rice. So I have here, the one thing that I could find was jasmine rice these are the 1 minute rices. So they're the little like half cup containers. So we really don't have to worry about weighing it out. But for purposes here, this is about a half a cup of jasmine rice that we're gonna use for today. Preferably, I like to use like a brown rice or a quinoa. It typically has a little bit more fiber that we were talking about earlier when we were choosing our carbohydrate source. But for this purpose, we're gonna use a jasmine rice, half a cup of that. We're gonna go ahead and place it in our dish here. That's gonna be our little base. From there, we're gonna kind of mash this up, make it a little bit more ricey. Perfect. We're gonna go ahead and add our chicken here. So we've got our chicken and our rice, we got our protein and our carbohydrate taken care of, good to go. Half a cup of the jasmine rice is about 35 grams of carbohydrate. Again, we've got about 40 grams of protein with the 4 ounces of chicken. Again, I'm gonna go with the black beans. So I had about a half there's about 2.5 servings in 1 can of beans. So I'll break it up. So now that I used a half a cup of beans for the salad for our Tuesday dinner, we're coming here, Wednesday lunch is coming around, so I'm gonna use that other half a cup of beans so we're not wasting them. I'm gonna go ahead and sprinkle that on there. Perfect. And then I am gonna go ahead, I buy the prepackaged pico de gallo. Let me go ahead and show you that real quick here. We got our prepackaged pico de gallo. The simpler the better, right? Let's just make this as easy as possible. So the pico de gallo is awesome when it's pre-cut and ready to roll. Great salsa, great flavor. Go ahead and dump that on the top there. So we've got our carbs, we've got our fat, we got a little bit of veggies in there as well. We got our fiber coming from the beans as well. Just to give us another find your fat idea, sour cream, right? It's not that it's bad, it's not that it's good, it's not the healthiest of fats. However, it is a good fat source. So we're gonna go ahead and use that for our fat source this time, just to give us another example. So if you remember, for the first one, we did a cheese for finding our fat. For the second one, we did the avocado. And then for this one, again, we're gonna change it up and do a sour cream, just to show us a little bit of variety as far as our fats are concerned. So I'm gonna take my sour cream, I'm gonna dump it on top here. And boom. For sour cream and for a lot of fats, 1 to 2 tablespoons is kind of that line. For 2 tablespoons of sour cream, it's about 80 or 60 calories and about 5 grams of fat. So just to keep that in perspective. So bam, now we've got our Wednesday lunch prepped and ready to roll. And if we notice here, we still have, you know, an extra serving or two of our chicken. So we were able to build 3 meals from essentially our one foundation of protein. So this is something that I want you guys to start thinking about is, what are we going to create as staples in our diet, right? What's something that we can kind of live on and use for the rest of our lives? So this is, I feel, is a great way to start introducing that idea. Start introducing the idea of creating staples, creating things that you can do on a regular basis, time and time again, because that's what's going to lead to our success, is consistency, staying consistent. So are there any questions on our Chipotle bowl?
Now, this looks amazing, Noah. God, I mean,
Awesome.
this is totally on fire, you guys. Hopefully, you guys got a lot of information. I love chicken, and what I love about it is that literally just taking that chicken and putting it 3 different forms, and so that even though you're still eating chicken, you can put a lot of variety in it, and you can keep yourself healthy. So this was amazing.
So with the proportions that you made on this, if we were to do our several small meals a day rather than 3 full meals a day to keep the portions, like the portions that you made on that, would that almost be like a double portion if you were going to be doing through, you know, several meals during the day, like every 3 hours? And then like cut
Great
each
question.
of those, cut each one of those in half for portion size for throughout the day?
So yeah, so for instance, you know, that might be a great idea for maybe something like the Chipotle bowl, where this is going to be a little bit closer to that 400, 450 calorie range. So that might be a great idea for this, maybe a half portion of this, or like I said, lightening up maybe for the lunch. The lunch might be a salad where you don't have as much carbohydrate or as much fat, but we still getting the protein, we're still getting the volume for the food. So yes and no. I'd say, you know, the wrap is about 350 calories. So that falls right in line. If we do, you know, 3 of those meals a day at about 300 calories, then we're looking at about 900 calories a day. That's not enough to sustain somebody throughout the day. So we still need a little bit more. So all these meals are kind of in that range. The only heavier meal that would be this is because of the rice specifically is a little bit heavier in calories. So yes and no to that question. I would say that, you know, definitely trying to meet that 350 calorie range with your protein source, your fat source, and your carb source. And then having your snacks 150 calories would, you know, put you right in that calorie deficit, you know, that 1200 to 1500 calorie range that we need to kind of continue on our weight loss journey.
And Kathy, this would be good for you because incorporating the products that you have, it not only sort of kind of helps you feel full so that you don't overeat on some of these other portions, but it's going to give you 100% nutrition. So, you know, you can have like your breakfast and then one of the products as a snack, then one of Noah's lunch, another product as the snack, and then that dinner. And so that you're not hungry, you feel sustained, you feel satisfied. And so it's just a great, easy sort of meal plan. And it's all about consistency. Now, I know some of you guys are doing products as well. This is just a fantastic time to really integrate the products in between. And then Nicole asked, can you talk about the snacks, not the products?
Absolutely.
Yep, we can totally give you some good, roughly, you kind of want to stick around like 100 to 150 calorie range for the snacks, but just remember they also need to be sustainable when it comes to fullness. So sometimes I'm guilty of where I'm eating snacks that just end up making me hungrier, and then I just end up wanting to eat more and more. So that's why So with
snacks, I've got a couple ideas here for you. So for snacks, typically I love to do these Ogio's Greek yogurts. So they are, you know, roughly 100 calories, 15 grams protein. These are awesome. So 100 calories plus 90, we're looking at about 190 calories if we do 1 Greek yogurt and an apple, or 1 Greek yogurt and a banana. So we're getting a little bit of carbohydrate, not much fat, but we're getting our carbohydrate and protein source in here. Great. Another option is apple peanut butter. the one recommendation I do with the peanut butter is get a plain Greek yogurt, mix it up with the peanut butter. So now we're getting protein, fats, and carbs. So now we have, you know, a nice little dip, creamy sauce for our apple. So it's like peanut butter and apple, but we're getting a little more bang for our buck as far as protein concerned. Another great idea is carrying around these little tuna packets. They're about 90 calories, pairing it with a piece of fruit. There's about, you know, 170 calories in this little snack option here. The other one that I'll recommend is the Think bars. I prefer, I personally, I'm 200 pounds and I'm, you know, work out a lot. So these are the 230 calorie ones, but they have a 150 calorie version of these. These are ideal. So if you can get these are quick, grab and go little bars that you can use that are ideal for snacks. So, I mean, I just gave you 5 different snack options, and I think that those are all great options that you can use as far as snacks are concerned.
Yep, and if you're a big PB fan, Stephanie put PB2. That is also another great option.
PB2 is another great option, absolutely.
Yep. So great. Does
Absolutely.
anybody have any other questions?
Just the idea of 1,200 calories a day kind of freaks me out.
Just remember, Kathy, it's not quantity of calories, it's quality. Yeah. So Noah did a great job, especially for you and your metabolism. You're trying to eat the right fuel. So I don't want you to necessarily feel like, gosh, that's, you know, 1,200 calories. I want you to think of like, is that what my body's going to use to do its job to repair and rebuild and really help your metabolism stay in check?
I definitely want you to also take into consideration, backing up on what Dr. Tran just said is, you know, this 1,200 calories, you got to think that, you know, just laying in bed all day, having, you know, at rest, you know, our body is using calories, just laying there, not doing any activity. And that can typically range from 12 to 1,300 calories for a majority of people. So I would say that, you know, that is kind of a very low end of calories, but backing up what Dr. Tran said is the quantity or the quality of these calories, right? Are these calories giving us the vitamins and minerals we need? Are these calories giving us the fiber and nutrients that we need to kind of have, you know, healthy bowel movements? Are these the calories that are going to provide me with the protein that I need to rebuild new tissue or, you know, recovery after surgery? So it's about that quality aspect, what Dr. Tran was saying. So, you know, 1,200 calories does seem intimidating, especially if you've been on an extremely low calorie diet for a while. But, you know, and maybe not like jumping right into it, maybe building up to that point, right? Maybe that, you know, we are very diligently, 1 week we got you up to 1,100, next week we got you up to 1,200, 1,300, so that your body is, you know, efficiently using these calories and nutrients that you're getting out of it, right?
Yeah, that's awesome. And Nicole, also a shout out to you. Noah is just talking about how food is our fuel. And again, I want to kind of wrap this up and bring this home. We don't want you guys to be afraid of food. I think that has always been one of the biggest challenges is that food is not your enemy. And once we sort of kind of really help you understand how food can be beneficial, it can actually be yummy, but it also plays an important role for your body. So if you just really put it all together, then you can really, really make this easy for you. And I promise you guys, it's so much easier to maintain your weight than to, you know, be overweight and to try to play catch up. So we're really trying to give you all the tools and knowledge possible. So, well, Noah, this has just been a fabulous, fabulous experience. I totally am submitting you to Food Network. I think you need your own TV show. So, but you guys are amazing. Don't forget, if you need our help, just hit our website at denverweightlossclinic.com. You can hop on with a phone with me. I know some of you guys are already getting coaching sessions from Noah, from Stephanie, from Katie, and we just had been an amazing week. I will be hopping on again tomorrow at 11. Tomorrow will be just sort of like a Q&A. Let's just wrap up the week. Let's celebrate each other's wins. And but you guys are amazing. Thank you so much for joining the masterclass, and then we'll see you guys again tomorrow. All right, we'll see you later.
All right, thank you.
Thanks for hanging out, guys.
Right.
Bye, guys. Thank you so much.